Hey guys, and welcome to another Will It Run episode with Trains with Shane on the I Saw It Online YouTube channel. Your eyes are not deceiving you, you're not seeing double. There are actually 2 units on the table today. Both of these were purchased from the same seller. It was a Dutch auction, I think is what they call it, where you can select multiple quantities. I made offers on these and he accepted. I paid a little bit more than I wanted to for each one, but after it nets out with what I saved in shipping and taxes and stuff, it didn't turn out too bad. So I was willing to take a risk on these. So what do we have? We have a couple of Atlas 040, what they called the Shifter. And these are both undecorated, obviously. These were made in the 1970s by Rivarossi for Atlas. As those of you who've been around the hobby for a long time will recognize with the blue plastic inserts here is indicative of Rivarossi. Interestingly, also, Concor imported these after Rivarossi and Atlas broke up around 1977-ish. From what I was able to dig up on the Spookshow website, these started to be manufactured by Rivarossi for Atlas. There's the paper. From about 1970 till about 1977 when they broke up. Also, what I saw was that these didn't show up in the US very quickly. As in, even though they were starting to be made from 1970, they didn't show up here in the States until a few years later. These two are obviously undecorated. You could get them in Baltimore and Ohio and Santa Fe and most of the usual suspects from what I understand. So why do we have 2? The reason is that I was hoping that if both of them don't run, that we've got enough parts to make at least one good runner out of it. So let's get in here closer, see what we've got, and then we'll go over the second one as well. So, this thing could be over 50 years old. Looks surprisingly decent. It doesn't initially look like it's got a lot of wear on it. Let's see if we can get him out of the box here. Carefully. There's our blue plastic Rivarossi manufactured insert, as you guys have probably seen on some diesel locomotives that I've reviewed and got running in the past. Okay. The good thing about these older locomotives is, unlike the fancy Bachmann Spectrum that we worked on last week, there aren't a lot of exterior applied details and stuff, little fine metal handrails and stuff. So it's a little bit easier to handle these. We've got Rapido couplers. Looks like that. Can't tell if that's molded in or separately applied. It looks like this handrail's molded in. The little tender light looks like it might be separately applied. We even got a couple of coal manipulation implements in there. Okay, so from what I understand, both some of the drivers here and the tender both pick up current. Wheels are a little dirty, but not horrible. The axle gears, I believe, are metal, as is the worm gear on the motor. The center gear is plastic, according from the breakdown I saw. It looks like we have traction tires here on the front axle, if you guys can see that. They're very thin and discolored, but appear to still be there. So that'll be good for pulling itself around, obviously. The rear axle, the wheels look a little bit dirty. Not horrible, but I think we might not get away clean on this one and have to possibly clean it up a little bit. This same mechanism with a different body shell and no tender was used for a little dock switcher, a little tank 040 dock switcher, around the same time. So you guys might see those if you're looking around on eBay. A fake front coupler here. Not much in the way of separately applied details. Everything's pretty well molded in on the body shell here. Decent looking little running gear here. It's not the super cheap AHM model power looking stuff from the same era or earlier. It doesn't appear to have a ton of use on it, other than some slightly crusty wheels. So let's put this back in its box and check out the other one. Again, more of the same. This one looks a little fuzzy. Maybe they have ran this on a track that was sitting on some carpet. Or that just could be stuff that came out of the air from sitting on display, but given the fact that it looks like it might be slightly wrapped around the running gear there, I'm thinking it was probably run on a track that was on some carpet, maybe. Who knows? Alright, closer look. Looks like you can see maybe some leftovers of some grease right up in here behind the front axle. There's a nice close-up look of our I hope it's just carpet fuzz and not hair. Yeah, definitely a little bit dirtier. Looks like we have our traction tires here. See the you guys can look real close. Right here, it looks like the head of the screw might be slightly boogered. It's possible that this thing may have been taken apart before. Looks like we're missing part of the front pilot on this one also, right here. It's missing the step on this side. Again, you can see here, if you guys can see it, let me get the right angle. See where this is kind of raised on here? Unless it's just the manufacturing process, but it looks to me like someone may have had that apart before. And that continues that theme with these drawbar, not this one, but the front drawbar screw. Drawbar. English is hard, guys. Definitely has more dirt and stuff on the tender wheels. That one's really crusty. I'm predicting we'll have a power pickup issue with this unit. Definitely some schmutz amongst the gears as well. This thing could definitely benefit from a service, and I'm thinking that we'll probably have to make it run. Otherwise, looks about the same as the other one. We never did get a look at the other side of the other one, so get in here. Not an exact mirror image, but really close. No cab details really, just the comm end of the can motor that's in there. There's even some, you guys can see that if it'll focus. Looks a little funky as well. Looks like someone may have put some light oil to lubricate the commutator, and it of course over time attracts dust and stuff like that. It becomes a little bit of goo. See two screws up there. I believe these screws are part of what holds the shell to the mechanism. So, what do you guys say? We do as we do and get this over to the switching layout, both of them, find out what they do and what they don't do. I will see you over there. Alright guys, we've made room on the switching layout for test subject number 1. This is the first one I showed you guys, the one that looked to be quite a bit cleaner than the second one. So it's the one that I've got the most hope of it actually working. So let's turn on our track power, pick a direction, dial it up. Almost, oh, a little stutter. Come on. There we go. Not running real smooth. Alright, change direction. Dial it back up. A little stutter. Come on, give the board a couple taps. Stuttery. You guys can hear it stuttering. Alright, we're going to stop that one there. It looks like this one is going to need a clean, possibly a lubricate as well. I'm not going to mess with the quartering or anything on this because it appears to be working. The stuttering could be caused by a quartering issue that's just only very, very slightly out, but still in enough to function. Although, even with other units that I've seen that have good quartering, like my little Bachmann dock switcher, just due to the nature of the thing, it kind of wants to like shimmy back and forth a little bit, and that causes it to stutter. So let me switch out with our other train. Alright, we've swapped out for the unit that at first glance appears to have lived a slightly rougher life than the first one. Let's see what we can get out of it. Track power, direction, dial up the current. Oh, we got life. Ooh. Okay. Try and bring her back. Okay, we're gonna just leave that there. Turn off our track power. Signs of life, good. Not signs of a good life. So, what we are going to do is we are going to get this unit here over onto the disgusting workbench. See if we can clean it up, because I can almost guarantee you that this is a blatant power pickup issue, and we'll see if we can get the carpet / cat hair or whatever it is out of the works, get it cleaned up, get it lubricated, and see if we can make it better. I will see you guys back over on the disgusting workbench. Alright guys, back over on the disgusting workbench with unit number 2, as I'm going to call it. I've got some supplies ready. I've got our cotton swabs, our sandpaper if we need it, a bent up paperclip, toothpick, isopropyl alcohol, screwdriver for disassembly. I'm going to try the isopropyl alcohol first because that has the least amount of actual effort and involvement, you know, just trying to keep it simple. I don't have a lot of hope for that actually working on the crust that's on this thing. Mostly on the tender wheels. Let's see, I don't know if I can get this up in our teeth here. We're not doing a lot here. I can feel the crust. It's not like Grandma's apple pie crust either. Look at that, ooh. Yeah, isopropyl isn't really wanting to touch this. It's making it lighter. So it might be taking a tiny bit off, but I have a feeling what I'm going to have to do is disassemble at the drawbar here. Take our trucks off one at a time so I don't screw up reassembly. I mean, obviously this one goes at the back, but and then I'll see if I can get in here the tweezers. Alright, so before we split this at the drawbar, guys, I wanted to show you something. See, we've got a plastic insert between two metal pieces. That's a pretty simple way to electrically isolate the drawbar in a way that allows the tender to pick up from both sides on both trucks. Well, not both sides on both trucks, I think. Maybe, yes. Maybe not. I don't know. It may pick up like this and this. I don't know, guys. I'm not an electrician. And some of the early stuff can be really confusing. But it's pretty neat because it allows the tender to pick up from both sides of the track instead of just the locomotive picking up, let's say, this side and the tender picking up just this side, which makes for a nice nightmare when going through a turnout. Let's split this. Always try to find a screwdriver that fits the width of the slot as best as you can. Oh, Yahtzee. That's good. Find our little screw here. Put that back. There. You can better see what we've got going on there, guys. See how the metal's kind of bent up. It looks like someone may have bent that up to try to make the lip of the screw here a little more solidly contact the strip. Funky McFunky Town for sure. Part of me wants to take this truck off Wow, look at the spring force that's against that. It's almost coming entirely up with the screw travel. I think it's a cast metal body. You guys see the threads down in there? Alright, let's see what we've got on the underside here. That honestly looks nice and shiny and likely electrically conductive. Not too concerned about that. And even back in frame, our axles where they contact the metal piece looks good too. We just need to clean up the crust here. So let me see if I can get this 40-year-old axle out of here without molesting our side frame. Let's see, I probably should do that from this way. Just want to gently pry while pulling against this other wheel flange as well to try to gently pop it out, which we have. Now let's see if we can just get it out. When it comes to taking these things apart, guys, if you've never done it before, usually all it takes is just a tiny bit of persuasion, and you want to use as little force as you can possibly use. When we took that out, the springy steel came out as well, along with our along with our screw that holds that truck. So we're going to set those aside carefully. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, guys, and I'm just going to jump ahead to make this video as short as it can be. I'm going to take our good old fine grit sandpaper that you guys have seen me use a bunch, and I'm just going to use, again, as little pressure as I can to prevent putting scratches in the surface here, because scratches will attract more crap to get stuck in there. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to take our sandpaper here, and I'm just going to take the scratchy side and work this and clean up our flanges. So I'm going to do that to both axles, or excuse me, both trucks, all 4 axles on the tender, and then I will bring you guys back when I start servicing this thing. I really don't want to take this whole thing apart, because if I mess up the quartering on that, you guys know how fun that is to fix if you watched last week's episode. So I will bring you guys back when I'm done with the tender. Alright guys, we are back. Let me get you zoomed in here. Cleaned up our wheels pretty well. Not perfect, but much better than they were. I cleaned up the words are tough again. The metal strips, I cleaned up the contact surfaces where they meet both the metal part of the tender here and the undersides of these machine screws, just to make sure that they had as good a contact as they could. I went ahead and screwed it back on, as you can see, and there's still some fuzzies, but that's just, I need to blow them off. I also got the tweezers involved. Picked out most of the fuzz, but I think we need to run it a little bit. Yeah, see, I didn't do a great job. I'm not totally blind, but yeah, it's, some of these were wound up in here pretty tight, and some of the ones that remain are still kind of tight in there. So this may be just an evolution of doing this and then running it, doing it again. I mean, and I know that that won't wind them any looser, but I really, 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 see, there's another one. I mean, I'm pretty sure that this is an actual screw, so I could probably unscrew this. I can actually see it better through the viewfinder here of the phone. These aren't the best tweezers in the world, but they work pretty well for most things I need tweezers for. Having this so zoomed in doesn't make this an easy job. So you just have to pick a fiber at a time. I got a bunch of them with the first swipe. I just got in here and dug in, and there's still some back here in the running gear and stuff, but I can scarcely get the tweezers in there to pull them out. So, I mean, we may have to disassemble this thing. Look at how crusty that crap is. What I'm going to do, though, is we are going to flip this thing around, put it in the cradle this way here. And break out the electrodes. So what we're going to do is we are going to dial up a tiny bit of current on our transformer that we have attached to the desk here. And we put them on opposite sides of the tender here. I have to get in here to steady this a little bit. Forget which way it goes. It's either this way or the other way. Man, I cannot do anything with my fingers today. Okay, dial in some power. And now you guys can see it runs good when power is applied to the tender wheels here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our very fine sandpaper here, and we are going to act as we would normally act on a diesel. And we're going to finely polish, oops, sorry, bumped the tripod. We're going to try to finely polish the two wheels on the locomotive itself here. To get in your way a little bit here, guys, I apologize. All right, let's see our progress here. Looking better. Still not done. Okay, turn off the power here and check our work. Ooh, look at that chunk of fuzz I didn't see. That also may have been dislodged by us running the thing. Let's see if we can not make that problem any worse by doing what we're about to do here. Let's see, which one of these cute cotton swabs have I tried to use already? Cannot tell. We're just going to try to get this without leaving any additional fuzz behind. Okay. Not horrible. I think we might be in a good place here. So what do you say we get this thing back over to the test track, find out if we've made any improvements. All right, we are back over on the switching layout with unit number 2 here, the one that has lived a harder life, and we just spent some time trying to make it run. Let's see if we worked. We worked. Grammar isn't my friend today, guys. Let's see if our efforts bore fruit. Okay, got power, change of direction here, dial up some current. Ooh. Not bad. Let's bring her back. See if we can get a slow speed creep out of it. No. Whoa. Slow speed creep is not its friend. Ooh. That's different. Just turned our controller off when we hit the turnout right here. I also noticed something when that happened. Let me reset and show you guys what I mean. Now watch the tender when it gets to about right here. Did you see that? See the tender jump when we got to about right here. What that is making me think is happening is that it's having trouble negotiating the frog over here, and the wheels may be slightly out of gauge. So it's making contact with a place it shouldn't make contact with. I do not have an NMRA standards gauge for N scale or HO scale. I would like to pick one up. I've thought about it a few times, but haven't really been able to find one at first glance, although I never really dug into it. Although it looks like I may have to, because this is the first thing I've found that will not negotiate a switch without causing some kind of issue. Let's do this. Let's get this over onto the loop track on the Disgusting Workbench. Alright guys, coming slowly around the corner here, you'll see our little locomotive. Seems to do okay on anything that doesn't have a turnout. Again, like I said, I think that's wheel gauge issues. It is not a fantastic puller. But my old power pack here, the voltage that it puts out isn't very linear. It likes to step. It's like 3 volt, 5 volt, 7 volt, you know. So if I just barely twitch up on this, we get a lot more speed out of it. I mean, it's an old Bachmann pack. You guys know the ones. I did find another problem with this thing though, and the problem is in the tender. For some reason, and I think it might have to do with the little metal strips, which were fairly bent out of shape. This thing would run and push this train around great in reverse, but it would not consistently pull anything forward. There was electrical connectivity issues, and I think it might be a combination of a couple of things. Maybe the rear axle on the locomotive not picking up electricity very well, due to the wheels might being slightly out of gauge, as in a little too narrow. If you see, we got our other one back here. I swapped the tender off of it onto the one we worked on. Works great, forward and reverse. As you can see, we're pulling fine. This thing pulled the train fine with the other tender. So it's these little metal strips. They're impossibly thin. Someone at some time, I think, tried to bend them to make them create a little bit of spring pressure. And for some reason, I think it messed up the way that it transfers. And they may have slightly hogged out these holes. Let me see if I can... I don't know if you guys can see that, but let me zoom in here. See how that's mangled up a little bit? And that hole is oddly shaped. I'm thinking that's our issue. I don't know if I can overcome that, because, this thing stopped manufacture, I think, back in like 1983 or something like that. So this thing is between 40 and 50 years old, But both of the locomotives run great. We just need to figure out what the gauging issue is, if any. See if we can fix the gauge on the tender wheels here up to where it will work right through a turnout and not jump out. So, I don't know. At the end of the day, this one didn't run for anything, and now it does, runs well. And so does the other one. I ran it around here as well too, so once they get warmed up, they pull fine, just like my little dock switcher. So, what to do with them now? I mean, you guys know I'm not a Steam guy, so I am probably not going to keep these. What I'm going to do is we're not real close to 1,000 subscribers, but we're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. We're at like 630 or something, so only about 360-ish, 70-ish to go. I'm going to put both of these little units in a giveaway pile, and I'll give them away as a pair as one of the prizes on our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. And I'll put some other stuff in there as well, because these two guys in my mind isn't a great first prize, but it might be a fun second or third prize, because there is some value there. They're just not my thing. So with that, I want to thank you guys for joining me on another Will It Run episode on Trains with Shane on the I Saw It Online YouTube channel. If you guys have any suggestions or things to check on these, we might revisit them, but we might not. So with that, I'm going to sign off here, and I want to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Please comment, and I will catch you guys later. So stay safe.